And joining us here on Fox26Houston.com is Darla Mufti. Darla, thank you for taking the time to speak with me.
Thank you.
So, Darla, we're here because you're here to tell us how 2021's winter storm brought you to Houston because you lost your home in San Antonio. Could you tell us, in your own words, what happened that day?
So that day, earlier that day, before the fire had started, we the electricity finally came on permanently. It had quit rolling, and me, my husband, the children, my mom, we all got in the car and we rode around the neighborhood, showing the children the snow and stuff like that. And then we got back to the house and everybody started taking their mattresses to their rooms and excited, we could sleep in our rooms that night. And I had went to my room, took a shower, was so thankful for hot water finally, right? And took a shower, got in the bed, and I was laying there and I heard my 12-year-old, she said, I smell smoke, Dad. And he said, girl, you don't smell no smoke. And like 2 seconds later, he was like, oh, I smell it. So he walked toward like where the electric box is. And he was like, everybody get out. And he started hollering for everyone to get out. And he was like, this is not a drill. This is for real. Get out the house now. And I was like, I tried to get the fire extinguisher. And it was like the fire just that fast was already too big to even for a little fire extinguisher to even tamper with. And so we all ran out the house. And on my way out, I had slid down the ramp. And Ali, my 5-year-old, he came, or 6-year-old, he came running. And he was like, Mama, get up, get up. And there was like fire because it was a mobile home, right? So the fire was coming from up under the home. And I looked to the right to see what he was looking at while it was a panic, and the flames were just engulfing the bottom of the home. And so I hurried up and got up and ran out. And then my husband, he had came from the back of the house. He had turned off the electricity at the pole, and he had ran around to the front. And then he seen us, he seen everybody was out, and he went back into the house. I guess being a man, just trying to save something for your family. And he went back in, he couldn't, he threw like a couple of books and notes and stuff out the window. And that was it. We went across the street to the neighbor's house and watched our house burn down.
What was the day before that happened? What was the emotions like? Because before we did this interview, you were telling me, the kids kind of got to see the snow and everything seemed happy at first.
It was so the right before the winter storm happened, it was February 14th, and that's mine and my husband's anniversary. We were eating, and we were sitting at Olive Garden eating our anniversary dinner, and we was like, man, we gotta go. We had a bunch of socks that we had been collecting through the years, and we said, man, we gotta go get these socks out to the homeless. They're gonna need them. The snow on the ground. So we went and gave out socks, and we campaigned real quick for some money to get some blankets. So I think we bought like 25 blankets, something like that. And we had got trash bags, blankets, and socks, and we handed them out to the homeless. So my kids were calling, they were like, come home, hurry up. The weather's supposed to get bad. So we got to the house. Everyone was, excited. It's supposed to be snow in Texas, right? So everyone was so excited about the snow, playing in the snow all night. That first night, they were running around. And then the second day, it was, kind of laid back. You just were trying to stay warm. And then the third day is when the fire actually happened.
And what was going through your mind when you saw those flames?
It was so unreal. Like, no, like I'm 42, 41, however old I am. There's no way, like, I've never had a house fire. No one I know very close to me has had a house fire. This isn't happening to us. Like, it's gonna stop. Like, it's gonna stop burning just one room. And it just never happened like that. It never happened. It never stopped. The fire department came and, they stayed fighting the fire for hours, it seemed like.
And then what did they end up saying? It was like, was it one room or?
No, the whole house was gone. The whole house.
And And so after that night, what made you and your family just kind of make the jump to Houston of all places?
Well, Houston is where it's at, you know. Um, everything is good in Houston now. We have been participating with Fifth Ward Islamic Center, it's a Muslim community here in Houston, where we were coming every weekend to feed the homeless. We would cook food in San Antonio, keep it warm, bring it to Houston, and distribute it to the community, along with other community members. It's an effort that the whole community does. We have a youth group for our children. There was a lot of things going on in Houston to provide a better life for our children. And the idea of staying in San Antonio and knowing that we would just be right down the street from the disaster would have been way too much for our family to mentally comprehend every day. Even
Mm.
now, when we go to San Antonio, because we go to SeaWorld a lot, right? Because we lived right down the street from SeaWorld, we would go like 2 or 3 times a week. So now we still try to go like once a month, once every 2 or 3 months, and still every time we go there, my children want to ride by the old house. They want to see their friends. And leaving there every time is like the emotions bundle up again, like, looking at the house being torn down. It's like, wow, man, I can't believe, all praises be to God we made it out alive.
And no, and yeah, because nobody was hurt, right?
Nobody was hurt.
And
However,
what was,
we had
go ahead.
no, we left out of there with no material items. Like when we left the house, we went to a corner store to get bottled water while we were trying to find a hotel. And I told the dude, I said, man, I look homeless. I said, I am homeless. Like I had an aha moment in the store because I was in my pajamas and I don't dress like that in public. And I mean, just thank God, I grabbed the hijab that was sitting on the edge of my bed and ran out the door. And it was, we woke up the next morning and me and Raheem went to Walmart to buy stuff for our children and well, for all of us. And I was like picking up toothbrushes and toothpaste and deodorant. And I was like, do we need this? And he was like, yeah. I said, do we need a brush? He was like, yeah. I said, do we need socks? He was like, he said, daughter, we need everything. I was like, oh, wow, we do. We need everything.
Well, but you were already thinking about moving to Houston, but what was that moving process like? And I can't imagine with small children, it was easy to start all over.
Well, the move was quite simple. We had nothing to box up. We had nothing to carry with us. Essentially, we had a few things that were in the garage or whatnot that was separate from the house. Um, it wasn't easy because at the same time, Houston had a freeze also, right? And
Mhm.
pipes were busting in people's homes, and they had did the thing where you didn't have to pay rent for like, I think it had already been like 6 or 7 months. So people were like 6 or 7 months behind on their rent. Now their pipes busted in their house. They had just got a stimulus check, plus Red Cross or who? No, 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 not Red Cross. Who is it that helps? FEMA. FEMA was issuing checks and putting people in hotels, and income tax time. People were getting money. So people that rented houses were so cautious to rent houses to anyone because of the fact that they had been burned all the months where people didn't have to pay rent. Then the other rest of the houses were ruined and waiting on plumbers and waiting on things that the plumbers couldn't get their hands on to fix the homes. Then because the landlords have already been burned from the other people, they were so super cautious of who they rented homes to, and were self-employed. So that was a issue. They wanted solid income they could see, instead of like we were our own boss and bringing in. And so it took us like 3 months to even find a home. My oldest daughter had took in our little children and my mom in Corpus Christi, and they stayed with Takedra there. And me and my husband, we had to come here, and it was even hard some nights finding a hotel because so many hotels were booked with people who had lost their homes to busted pipes. It
Well,
was
and so when
very,
did you officially move to Houston?
we officially moved to Houston in April.
April. And so what's it been like for you all? Like, have you guys adjusted okay?
Yeah, we've adjusted.
Oh, I think your mic cut out. Your mic cut out. There you go. You're back. You're back.
Okay, sorry about that. So being back together was the main thing.
Hmm. And so you guys have adjusted just because we lost you before. You guys have adjusted okay. Everyone's back together.
We have physically adjusted well. You know, we enjoy being a part of the community where we're even more active now, and there's more things going on that we could be a part of because we're here. Um, yeah, so physically we've adjusted very well with the
Okay.
move, and emotionally, you know, with the actual move, it's been okay.
Yeah. Well, but now here we are a year later, and the Electric Reliability Council of Texas, ERCOT, is issuing a winter weather watch through Sunday. And I can already see you, but I gotta ask, how did you feel when you heard the news, and how is the rest of the household reacting?
Last night we were watching the news, and Tyler, my 13-year-old, she was like, "So is it gonna freeze again?" And we were like, "Well, you know, there's a possibility." And she was like, "Okay, we need to pack our bag. We need to put it by the door and make sure we have everything because they lost things that were sentimental, you know, and things that we can never replace, you know." So she wanted to make sure she had her stuff close by. She was like, "We need to get some space heaters. We need to make sure." Now she's 13 and she's worrying about stuff that adults have to worry about. Not because her mom and dad and grandma are not worrying about it, but because she has to mentally prepare, emotionally prepare herself. And she was like, "We need to get gas for the generator. We need to make sure we have a long extension cord." Like she's 13. You know, whenever the heater comes on and you know that first smell of the heat, my son panicked. Like he ran and grabbed his blanket and he was just crying. He was like, "The house is gonna burn down." And we were like, "No, Ali, you know, it's okay, Ali." And you know, Fahima is like, she's our resilient child. She's like, "Oh, just be ready to move again." But like our kids, like I see with Fahima especially, like she don't get attached to nothing. Like nothing really means anything to her of materialistic things. So it's hard for her to build memories because she's scared they're all gonna be taken. And that hurts. And Ali, like, even after the fire, like Ali, anytime the air conditioner kicked on, because the fire was coming through I should explain it. The fire was coming through the air conditioner heating vents, right? So he was scared that every time the air conditioner came on, that fire was going to come out. And he was scared to sleep on the top bunk of his bed because it was close to the air conditioner vent. He was like, "I can't sleep here. What if it catches on fire in the middle of the night and I die?" And we're like, "Ali, it's not the same. You know, it's okay." So we've had to emotionally still adjust. And, you know, today it was foggy. It was foggy the day before it started snowing in San Antonio. So the fog kind of triggered something in me. And I called my husband. I was like, "It's foggy just like it was the day before the snow when we lost everything." And he was like, "It's going to be okay." And, you know, it hurt him that he couldn't just fix his family. And that's hard.
Well, and so what kind of feelings then do you have when ERCOT and Governor Greg Abbott are saying they're confident, more prepared in the power grid, considering what happened to you all during the storm
They
last
were
year?
confident. They were confident last year. You know, I mean, what they say don't mean nothing to me. I don't trust it. I can pray and hope and have faith that everything is gonna be okay. You know, but I can't give my children no guarantee. I can't give anybody a guarantee because they thought we were fine last time. You know, we got it all under control. Everything is gonna be fine until we started having rolling power outages. You know, and they weren't
Well,
giving us
and
electricity for like 3 hours and then cutting it off 30 minutes and giving us two, cut it off. You know, it was like on for like 5 minutes and off for like hours. It was on for like 2 minutes and gone for hours. It wasn't rolling. It not. I wouldn't call it rolling. Rolling things take time to come around and roll back
Hmm.
through. This was like flipping. The electricity was
Gotcha.
flipping on and off. It wasn't rolling nowhere.
Yeah. Well, and so how are you and your family then preparing for the winter weather watch?
We have gotten gas for the gas cans for the generators. We've talked to my husband. My husband's a truck driver now, so he's preparing to come home and shut down, not because he needs to because of the weather, but because our family needs him here. So he'll be shutting down, coming back toward the house today, and God willing. And I mean, just we have food, canned food, stuff like that. We have a generator. Um, that's really all we can do. We got all the blankets and all of our clothes are washed up, and um, we now have like a fireproof safe because when the fire happened, we lost everything: our birth certificates, IDs, social security cards. We felt like we didn't even exist, right? So now we have to make sure everything is in the fireproof safe that we've taken out that needs to go back in. We got that back in there and just hope for the best, pray for the best.
What kind of advice would you share with people who, like you, might be worried about the weather and maybe even history repeating itself?
Mm, be prepared. That's the main thing. Be prepared for the cold because we don't know if we will lose electricity again. Pray and hope for the best, but definitely prepare for the worst. Make sure you have the food you need. Make sure you have, a can opener you can open by hand, not just an electric one. Make sure that you're prepared.
Yeah. Is
That's
there
the
anything
main thing.
else? Yeah. Is there anything else you'd like to add before we conclude?
Um, just keep your faith in God and whatever you believe is your being, your higher power, and keep a good attitude because a bad attitude won't change nothing. It won't help. Just stay positive. That's the main thing I could say is 2022 and there's no excuses. Just stay positive, stay prayed up, and hold your horses.
I got one more question for you. I didn't write this down, but how do you stay positive considering like all this stuff that happened to you though?
Man, when you know that there's a higher power that God is in control of everything, I mean, what is there to be mad about? What is there to be negative about? What is there to mourn about? I mean, that's the same thing. Like right now, we don't know what's going to happen, but we can't lose our positivity because at the end of the day, like I could have had, we had so much support from our community after our house caught on fire. Like our community, like came through for us. Like I'm talking about came through. And at first, we were like, what are we gonna do? Like we lost everything. And so when you truly trust in your Lord, no matter what it be, I'm Muslim, we say Allah, you may say, people may say, whatever you believe, trust in your Lord. What you can understand is your creator. Trust in him because that's all I can really say. Because we could have had $1 million pair of shoes and the most expensive things in our house. It didn't carry us. And be good to people. Give of your heart. Don't give because you feel like you got to receive something, but just give of your heart. When you see homeless people, when you see people struggling, when you see people coming home from prison and they don't have jobs and they're struggling to get jobs, be their light. And that same light will come back to you. And that's how I can be positive because the light that we shine always reflects back on us. And God
I
always.
love it. I love it. Well, we'll leave it right there. Thank you so much, darling, for
Thank
speaking
you,
with me.
Ahmed.